Hi, my name's David. I've been a Christian, a follower of Jesus for about 33 years. Betrayed is such a weighty word. A quick Google search reveals that it means the violation of a person's trust or confidence. The phrase stabbed in the back comes to mind for me. The Bible and the Easter story has a box set load of betrayal in it. And more specifically, you might have heard of one of Jesus' followers whose name is now synonymous with betrayal, Judas. In a little section of the story in Matthew 26, it says this: Then one of the 12, Jesus' followers, the one called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and asked, "What are you willing to give me if I hand him over to you?" So they counted out for him 30 silver coins. From then on, Judas watched for an opportunity to hand him over. So Jesus had become quite the talk of the towns in his day, flipping people's worldview with his refreshing teaching and radical love, his miraculous signs and wonders. People who didn't think they would fit in were welcomed, and the people who thought they were in God's special crowd, the in crowd, had a real wake-up call from Jesus. In fact, so much so that the religious leaders decided to do something quite irreligious: look for a way to kill Jesus. Perhaps we're no longer shocked by the moral failings of those in positions of influence, but the twist in this plot is that it's one of Jesus' close followers who sat and had meals with him and walked with him for 3 years, who agrees with the chief priests to betray Jesus into their hands. Betrayal is such a deeply personal emotion. An orchestra I was in high school had been invited to travel down to London to play at the opening of the Millennium Dome. We'd been promised free McDonald's, and along with a number of other hyped up expectations that never came to fruition. A hollow promise felt like a betrayal. Now, that might sound like a trivial example of betrayal, particularly if you're not big on Big Macs, but there have been other situations in my life. I was in a formal conversation at work where one of my comments shared with the promise of confidentiality about my boss was taken straight to my boss, and I was fuming as I sat across from my boss whilst he directly addressed the concerns that I had raised in confidence in another room. I felt exposed and betrayed. Sadly, I expect that your journey of betrayal holds much more significance than those two examples. Betrayed in long-term breakup of relationships. Maybe you've suffered abuse. Maybe you've felt betrayed in employment as job offers or salary increases never materialized. Maybe you've been betrayed as a group of friends leaves you out and lies about it. A Christian thinker and theologian, Martin Luther, said simply but powerfully, each betrayal begins with trust. I'll support you no matter what. You can leave that with me. I'll look after it. Trust me, I'll make sure it happens. Betrayal can sting deeply and can leave us actually prone to self-protection. Perhaps you've decided not to trust people again or be very guarded in relationships. Betrayal can be brutal. Amazingly, in the story of Jesus and his betrayal that I'm looking at today from Matthew, Jesus was able to anticipate it. He knew the human heart and its fallibility. He even calls Judas out before he's about to betray him. My Christian faith matters to me big time. And part of the reason for that is that I worship a God who has lived a human life and felt human emotions, the same ones that I might struggle with. I can share the pain of being betrayed with God, knowing that he's been through it. But it's also massive to me that God is a merciful God. When Jesus rose again after all his friends had disowned him, he sat down with them again on a beach, invited them to have a meal, and gave them the opportunity to start again. When I betray God or people around me for my own fears and weaknesses, God is able to rebuild and reconnect. He even forgave the people who were crying out for his death while he was on the cross. He said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Maybe that's news to you. Maybe you're intrigued that someone who experienced betrayal, even to the point of death, was able to find restoration. Maybe the idea of a God who can forgive you of all the times that you messed up or betrayed others is an exciting proposition. Well, why not explore more? If you would like to understand more about Jesus and the cross and the Christian faith, why don't you call the number on this screen now, and we would love to tell you more about a course called Alpha. It's completely free and is a place where you can ask any questions you may have. You can also find out details about our Easter gatherings and our Sunday celebrations online.